Be'ez Hashem, I want to talk a little bit about the idea of when a person is in a position that they have to continue doing something because of routine and repetition. You know, there's beginnings, and beginnings are always exciting. There's always a tam b'bereishis, ma tam pasa b'bereishis. What is the reason? But also, there's a certain type of relish in beginnings. It's exciting. There's passion. There's openings. Hashem creates beginnings. The divine creates beginnings. But what happens in life, which is not every time or always in life, there are beginnings, because sometimes we're already in a certain pattern of behavior. A person's in a marriage or in a relationship, and in a job, whatever the situation is, or general practice. There's certain practices of being in this world that demands that we show up, and even though we don't feel it as a beginning and it feels more as a repetition of an old behavior, we have to show up day in and day out. So how do we go about this idea? So there's a well-known parable, metaphor, that's recorded in various different world cultures, and it's also recorded by the Hasidic rabbis, Hasidic masters. And the story is like this, the metaphor is like this. There was once a great king who built himself a beautiful palace. And in the entry path, in the foyer of entering into the palace, there was this large room that moved into the opening, to the expanse of the ballroom. And in this foyer, there were two sides, of course. And what he decided to do was to commission two of his most important artists to create some type of mural, to create some type of beautiful painting on each side. And he told them that this will also be like a competition, that whoever will paint or create a more beautiful mural on one of the sides, they'll be rewarded very handsomely with a treasure chest full of gold and jewelry. So there are these two paths. There was a path moving to the open expanse of the ballroom, and there was this foyer, and there were two sides, and each one had to paint or create some type of mural, and whoever created the most beautiful one would get handsomely rewarded. But in order for this to be a true competition, the king set up these canvases on both these sides, and also he created scaffolds that hid each side. So artist number one on the right and artist number two on the left would not see each other, whatever they're doing beyond the scaffolds. Neither would any of the people. So this would be a surprise. It would be a great unveiling, let's say in 60 days. And in 60 days, there would be an unveiling of both these sides. And whoever would create the more beautiful mural, the more beautiful painting, would be rewarded. So the first painter is filled with inspiration and enthusiasm, and immediately gets to work day in, day out. And with a tremendous amount of patience and devotion, he's creating this beautiful, majestic, wondrous, colorful painting. And day by day, it's becoming even more beautiful. And this is what's going on with painter number one. Painter number two, which is on the other side, beyond the scaffolds and no one sees, is sitting there and contemplating what exactly should he paint. And there's no inspiration. He's every single day sitting the entire day thinking about, should I paint this? Should I paint that? This should be, what exactly should I do? Maybe I should do something else, maybe a sculpture. He's not really sure, and there's no inspiration. And he's sitting there, and day by day, time is slipping away. And it's coming closer to the 60 days, to the end of the 2 months period. And he's sitting there in agony, but nothing's coming. He's totally out of inspiration. And it's the night before of the unveiling. Tomorrow's the great unveiling of these two paintings, and there's nothing. The canvas is empty. But he has an ingenious idea. He has a spark of an idea, and he's satisfied with the idea. The next morning, all the dignitaries and the king and the queen and the important people of the country come to see this great unveiling of these two paintings. So first, the scaffold of the first painter is taken down, and everyone gasps with this beautiful, extraordinary image that's being seen. and rich in detail and texture, and it's really a beautiful live vision, and everyone is, breathtaken by the artistry of this painter, and everyone's moved. And then came the turn for the second one, for the second painter, and his scaffold is dropped, and what is revealed is not a mural, it's not a painting, but a mirror, and the mirror reflects the painting on for the other side, and it's just as beautiful. It's an inverse image, but it's a beautiful image, just like the image of the first painting. But in fact, the second painter didn't do anything. He just put up a mirror. Didn't actually create anything, and it's just a reflection of the first. This is the story, and there are three possible endings to the story. Possibly ending number one is that the king is not impressed by this trick that the second painter did. Of course, rewards the first painter for the beautiful image that they created, and the second painter is punished for he didn't really do anything. That's possibility number one. Possibility number two, ingenious idea, and he's really impressed by this, and therefore he rewards painter number two with the treasure chest of gold and jewelry. Possibility number three is that the king looks at this beautiful image that's a mirror image of the first. He hands the beautiful treasure chest to painter number one, who actually paints the mural, and painter number two, because he has a mirror, sees the reflection of the treasure chest of painter number one, and he too is rewarded with a mirror image of the treasure chest, just like his actual painting is just the mirror image of the painting of painter number one. So these are three possible options. The first option, which is that the king is upset and punishes painter number two, is actually not a good option, because that reflects very negatively on the king, and it shows that he's not creative, and he doesn't have a sense of humor. So let's leave that alternative out. The other possible two alternatives is number three, is that he rewards, just like he created a mirror, he's rewarded by a mirror image of the treasure chest, which will be the possibility number three. Or possibility number two is that he's actually rewarded with the actual treasure chest, with actually the reward. So the way it's mostly repeated, the story, is the clever way, which is possibility number three, that the king rewards painter number one with the actual treasure chest, and the second painter receives the mirror image of that reward. But the Hasidic rabbis, when they write the story and speak about the story, they say no, that the king actually gives the reward to painter number two. And the reason for this is as follows. There's a phrase, a refrain, that's found in Hasidic discourses, particularly in the Rebbe Rashab, where the refrain is ki'ilu mamish. Ki'ilu means as if, mamish means literally. When he's trying to explain something, I'll say that this thing is as if literally. On the surface, this is a contradiction. If it's literal, then it's not as if, and if it's as this, it's actually not literal. But there's a depth to it. That what this means is that sometimes when we don't feel inspired, when there's some type of resistance to be engaged, but we know that we have to be engaged in something. We know this is the right thing to do, but we're just not feeling it. We don't have the enthusiasm to do it, and our heart's just not into it. So we can do two things. We can either not show up, we can withdraw, or we can show up as if we're feeling enthusiastic, as if we are feeling fully present, and that showing up is literal. So there's a concept of, let's say, I'll say, you fake it till you make it. So faking till you make it means that I'm actually not really there. I'm faking that I'm there. I don't really want to be there. I don't understand why I should be there. I don't feel that I should be there, but I'm just faking it. Hopefully, if I fake it, eventually I'll actually make it and I'll actually feel it. This is something different. This is when I know this is the right thing for me to do, I need to show up. I just don't have the enthusiasm to show up. My heart's just not in it. I know intellectually, I know this is the right thing. I feel in my gut this is the right thing to do. So what I'm doing is I'm actually showing up fully, literally. It's just that I'm not showing up. The enthusiasm that I have is just as if. It's as if, ki'ilu, I'm showing up fully, even though my heart's not in it. But since I am there, because I'm fully there, because I know I should be there, so there's the literal aspect that I'm fully there, even though I'm just as if. And this is a very important teaching. This is almost like the idea of the painter, number 2, who creates an image as if I created the image, because they didn't have the creative outlet to actually express an image that came from within. It didn't work, so they had to come up with another idea. And they came up with this idea of creating a mirror image of that first painting. This is a creative act. So I am fully present in this act, even though it's just a ki'ilu, even though it's just as if. In life, sometimes we can show up with enthusiasm because we're feeling it. And sometimes the thing is already, we've done it yesterday. I've shown up already yesterday with enthusiasm, and I'm lacking the enthusiasm. But I know I have to show up because that's what I have to be doing, because I understand that's the right thing for me to do. To show up in such a way, in a way that it's ki'ilu mamish, as if, but it's literal, has just as amount of value, and in a way it's actually even a higher value than I'm actually feeling enthusiastically to show up. Let's say, for example, we can use this in 1,000 examples. Let's say an example in a marriage. So some days you wake up and you're enthusiastically engaged and you're enthusiastically present in the marriage. And you're doing all the right things and you're being in the right place and you're thinking the right thoughts and you're there. And sometimes possibly, maybe you're tired, maybe you're not feeling well. Maybe there's some external conditions that's causing that. Maybe you have a lot of anxiety for other issues. Whatever the issue is, you can't show up, and your heart is not in it. And you choose, because you know this is the right thing to do, and you choose to show up enthusiastically, externally enthusiastic. Ki'ilu is you're enthusiastically, but with the mamash, with the literal heart and a literal mindset that I want to be there fully, then that's enough. That not only is that enough, that shows the true greatness of a person. The true greatness of a person is when they can show up even though they're not feeling it. And they can show up fully. Not show up in a way that they're faking to show up. They're truly showing up because they know that that's what they want to show up, and their mind is fully present there, even though their heart is maybe not feeling it and not enthusiastically. This is with a marriage, and this is with any type of practice. When a person, let's say, in a routine practice, let's say it's the second day of Yom Tov in the diaspora, the second day of the holiday, or it's the day that you're putting on tefillin, that yesterday you put on tefillin, you felt enthusiastic, or yesterday you did this spiritual practice and you felt connected, this mitzvah you felt connected, and today you're not feeling the mitzvah, you're not feeling it. But if you can show up in life, because the main thing in life is to show up, literally, mamish to show up in life. Even though it's just the ki'ilu, even though it's just a mirror image of what your true enthusiasm was. Your true enthusiasm would show up as the first painter that painted the first painting, and that's the enthusiastic self that shows up and creates this beautiful painting. And sometimes you want to do it. You're there, you're agonizing. You want to show up enthusiastically, you just don't have it. For whatever reason, maybe it's a physical illness that's preventing you, or some type of mental situation that's preventing you, or emotional. You're stuck. You can't show up in the same way. But that's your ideal, your she'ifas, your desire, your longings, and your mindset is to show up. You just can't fully show up in a way that's enthusiastically expressed. Then show up mamish, literally, and then show up in a way that's ki'ilu, as if. And when you show up as if, literally, you're literally there. Or to say it differently, in the language of the Baal Shem Tov, the place where a person's thoughts are, that's where the person is. not only that's where your person's thoughts are, the place where a person's thoughts are, that's where their thoughts are, but a place where a person's thoughts are, which means the place that I want to be, even though I cannot be there for some reason, there's some hindrance, there's some blockage that's not allowing me to be there fully emotionally, or maybe even physically. But I'm in that analogy, but in this situation, you are showing up physically. You're just not showing up enthusiastically, but you're showing up with your mind and your heart and your inner heart and your inner desires. That's what I really want to feel, even though I'm not feeling it, but I really want to feel that. I really want to be in that place. If you show up that way, then you're literally there. You're fully there. There's the mamish that you're literally there, even though it's just a kilo, it's just as if. And that's the highest reward sometimes. Because when you're enthusiastically creative and you create this beautiful mural and this beautiful painting, of course, it's beautiful. But you're running on fumes. You're running on enthusiasm. It's exciting. Maybe it's the beginning. Maybe it's the first time you did it. So therefore you feel this excitement. There's a tama voracious. There's a beauty. There's a taste in the beginnings. And you feel excited. There's no, the Baal HaKerach writes, there's no greater passion than a person that's the aschala of a new beginning, or a kedusha, of a sanctity, of holiness, when someone's starting something. But what happens if you're already in a routine and you're not feeling it, and you still yet show up in a creative way, showing that that's what you really want to be there fully? You just can't. But my mind and my deepest heart and my desire is to be there, and to show up in a ki'ilu way, as if, but mamish, literally. Then you get the reward. Then you actually show up to life in a correct way, and you're really rewarded for being there. This is in a marriage, it's in a relationship, it's in a job, it's in a friendship. It shows up in every single aspect of our life. When we're not even feeling enthusiastic and we still show up and we're still mamish there, literally there, even though it says ki'ilu. And of all intents and purposes, the person that's the recipient of our being there doesn't even know that, doesn't even feel that, because we're not faking it. We're fully there. Our deepest desire is to be there. Our mind is to be there. We're just not feeling it. Doesn't matter. Show up. And show up in a kilo way, as if, and that's literal. And that is the greatest reward.